Red Ray Gun Limited presents
The Benji and Nick Show.
Hello and welcome to the Benji and Nick Show. It's just Nick here at the moment, but I'm about to introduce Benji Clifford, Jamie Anderson, son of Jerry Anderson, and Rick Davey. Yes, he who runs the Unmutual website. You must know all about that. Rick often writes in. Anyway, we were delighted to be invited to the ITC celebration event at Elstree Studios, where we congregated in the green room for a chat about ITC. So here we are. What's this event called? I've forgotten.
It's called A Celebration of ITC, and it is, as the name suggests, a celebration of ITC shows. So all those great shows that were made by Lou Grade in the 60s and 70s. So Champions, The Saint, Return of the Saint, all the Jerry Anderson shows, Randall Hopkirk Deceased, The Prisoner. A celebration of all those shows tonight.
Wow.
And it's great to have you with us.
Thank you, and it's great to be with you, Rick.
And there's a terrific turnout, isn't there, as well? There's
no one here in the bar. That's good, because it would be too insanely
when
noisy.
we were walking here, there were people. There's a big queue outside of people ready to come in. Yeah. So it just goes to show, that these programs they mean so much to so many people.
240 we're expecting, which isn't bad.
Wow. Brilliant.
For a thing about very old TV shows.
Well, it's listen. Come on, let's get straight to. Cut to the chase. What's your favourite ITC show? Can you narrow it down?
I can narrow it down to The Prisoner is my favourite ITC show. That's a bit obvious though, isn't it? My top five.
That's why you run the Unmutual.
Well, exactly. My top five would be The Prisoner, UFO, Return of the Saint.
Someone just passed out at the thought of that.
Yeah, cracking.
Randall Hopkirk Deceased.
Mm-hmm.
Cracking.
I'm going to stick at the top four, I think. There's a bit of everything in there. There's a bit of Anderson. There's a bit of intrigue. There's a bit of Randall Hopkirk kind of bit of camp fun.
Yeah. Well, Jamie, what are your favourites?
UFO.
And we have a UFO guest here this evening, the lovely Georgina Moon.
And Space 1999 one.
Yes.
With Prentice Hancock.
Yeah.
Well, and Paul Weston, who's Martin Landau's double on Space 1999. Jamie will tell you more than anybody. But we also have a vehicle.
I'm not sure I will.
We have a vehicle here from UFO as well. Did you see the lovely Jeep outside?
Oh, we did.
Which apparently drove here at 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, fantastic.
Incredible.
Even in the 30 mile an hour
zone.
In the pedestrian areas.
So it should be a good night. We've got a few guests.
Yeah.
The lovely Ian Ogilvie.
Wow, that's a star name, isn't it?
It is a star name, over from LA. He's over for the month to film the latest of his We Still... films. The first one was called We Still Kill the Old Way, and the second one was called We Still the Old Way, and I think this one's called We Still Die the Old Way. They're gangster films with people like Danny Dyer and James Cosmo and people like that. So he's over filming the latest one of those and has managed to squeeze us in.
Wow, so he's playing a sort of posh gangster, is he? Or something?
Well, I think he's putting on a bit of a Michael Caine Mockney.
Wow,
that's what a dude.
He's a bit of a legend, He was in the film of Waterloo in 1970. The Battle of Waterloo. That's what I'm impressed by. There's total blank looks from everyone here.
Is that a subject for a future Benji and Nick show?
Waterloo. Yeah, I think it probably
There's so
should
many
be.
different things for us to touch on, isn't there? Really.
There's something within me about these ITC shows where the ones that I have the emotional connection with, because when I first saw them, and then the ones that I've watched later and realised that they're better, but I didn't really know them as a kid. Do you have that kind of...
Well, I didn't see any of them at the time, apart from Return of the Saint.
I am the oldest person here.
So my first introduction to them was in the 80s when they were being repeated.
Right.
So The Prisoner in Channel 4 in about 83, 84, and then ITV in the afternoons started showing Man in a Suitcase, rather than Hopkirk, and then Saturday mornings, which was always Catweasel, and then Saturday Superstore or whatever.
Bird of night, hoot not.
Benji, I was relying on you to come in there with some...
Had to be done.
Something electrically related.
Aye.
But then they started showing the things like the Champions on a Saturday morning and UFO. So, and then, because it was the video era, late 80s, companies like Channel 5 were bringing out the video tapes. often they would edit 2 episodes of something together into a movie. So you'd get like 2 episodes of The Persuaders, and they just give it one umbrella title, and it would all be edited together strangely as one episode of The Persuaders that was 90 minutes long. I kind of got into it a bit more then.
Wow, it's now become obviously a huge thing for you. You know,
I love ITC.
putting on an event like this.
What's to love about ITC shows, because you've got the action-adventure live-action stuff, then you've got the Jerry Anderson stuff, then you've got the Jerry Anderson live-action stuff, so you've got something for everybody.
Well, I always think as well with the ITC stuff is that you look at it and it doesn't quite feel like telly, because when you see television programs, you know, let's. I mean, for example, we were looking at, was it Into the Labyrinth?
It's just run away. Carry on.
You look at these programs; they look very.
He's got an event organised.
They look very sort of TV-like in the way that they're shot and the way that they're acted in a way. But these feel very filmy. They feel so expensive. They feel bigger than you know. It's a bit like the same as what we have now, like you know, with home box office, HBO. It's kind of that same vibe. I think it just feels big and real and huge.
It's because they were A, shot on 35mm film, but B, they were shot by people who worked on film.
Yeah.
Television was still fairly new in the 60s, although it had been going for some time. There was only 2 channels up until the late 60s. So the people that were moving into these TV shows were used to making feature films. So when an ITC show was being made, they made it like a feature film, with proper 35mm cameras, with a proper movie director filming it. It doesn't happen now. You know, people that make television now are just out of university and don't really know what they're doing at all. But these guys,
controversial,
or they're massively hamstrung by budgets. And Lou Grade writing the checks was mostly saying, spend as much as you like within reason.
I think that's very true as well.
Yeah, well, certainly for Dad's stuff. Yeah, Dad said, "Oh, we need to get a load of new cameras." But Lou, it's going to cost $75,000, and that was say 1965.
Wow. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and he went, "That's fine. Why are you asking me? Stop wasting my time. Go and spend the money." So if it was anything like that for the other ITC shows, then yeah, that's a great reason why they look so filmic and massive.
Yeah, and The Prisoner was arranged on a handshake. There was no contract.
No.
Lou Grade, he said, Patrick McGowan rather said, I've got this new idea for a series. Lou Grade listened to him for half an hour and went, oh, it's so crazy, it might work, shook his hand, sent him off. You wouldn't get that now.
I do love that way of doing work. We do a little bit of that at Big Finish, but not
quite the same budgets though.
Funnily enough, no. Jamie, do you know any of these other ITC shows, or are they all sort of a bit past you?
Do you know what? Not massively, no. I mean, I know The Prisoner for obvious reasons,
yes.
Big Finish related reasons. But
you've been script editing then.
Yeah. But I mean, Randall and Hopkirk, yes, and a few other bits and pieces, yeah, for sure. But I don't have the same overarching
Rick
expertise
away again.
that the now absent Rick has.
It's interesting. There's a point I wanted to put to Rick, and maybe I'll have to repeat it when he gets back.
If he comes back at all.
If ever. Yeah, and what is the time?
5:30.
Oh yeah,
doors, and it's doors precisely as well.
It's doors. This is good. They're opening the doors to the event, the ITC celebration. I love Randall and Hopkirk and the Champions because of their sort of fantasy element in them. You know, the Champions, they're superheroes in suits, and Randall and Hopkirk, one of them's a ghost. But when I've looked back at these things, and obviously The Prisoner, because it's wacky and crazy and weird, and you can't quite work out what's going on. Oh, here he comes.
Rick's back.
I was saying, Rick, that I love
So sorry, everybody, coming and going.
It's part of this.
It's much easier when it's done over Skype, isn't it? You guys do.
At least we're not losing signal. Hello,
Nick. I lost you there.
What?
Nick.
Randall Hopkirk, Champions, The Prisoner, all sort of fantasy based, and I love the idea of those. But going back to them and looking at them, dare I say, from the point of view of an adult, the two ITC shows that really shine for me are Danger Man and Man in a Suitcase.
They're more gritty.
Yeah, but they have a thing in common, and I suppose you can include The Prisoner in this, as they had a very strong-minded, one might even say bloody-minded, leading man who would not accept less. And Danger Man is incredibly tight, isn't it? There's no nonsense in it, even though the plots aren't perhaps the most exciting or original ever written. The episodes are so tightly directed and so tightly played. It's like, and the same with Man in a Suitcase. And what's the name of the guy, the lead in
Richard Bradford.
When you see that interview with him on the network release, I mean, he clearly made everyone's life hell, didn't he? Yeah.
A lot of those people did. You speak to people who did The Adventurer, which was a series with Gene
Brilliant,
Barry.
yeah.
He was
Absolutely brilliant.
Git. Am I allowed to say Git on
Yeah,
this?
you can
Git.
say yes.
I mean, if Benji can say the F word because a computer.
Oh, no.
That's a mistake we don't like.
Yes, that's not advised.
Nobody's drop a computer.
No, looking back, you're right. I enjoy now, although those colour ones are my favourite shows, I enjoy things like Gideon's Way and Espionage a lot more than probably
Espionage? What's Espionage?
You've never seen Espionage? It's jolly good. Ghost Squad is another
Ghost
one.
Squad is the one I've watched. Yeah,
Has
I've got
Espionage
that
not been on Talking Pictures as yet?
No.
Surely that must be in the pipeline. But you've championed Gideon's Way a little bit. It's not
Gideon's,
probably
yeah.
appropriate 2018 telly, but it's...
No, it's totally offensive in almost every way. Have you seen Gideon's Way, Jim?
No. So
It's
many things.
Police procedural from the 60s. And it's full of every racial and gender stereotype you can think of. Yeah.
One of those
We're really selling it
shows.
to Jamie here, aren't we? Yeah.
Not really.
Just like I'll tell you another one that I love ITC wise is The Adventures of Sir Lancelot. With William Russell. I think that's such a fun production, and it's incredibly. It tries very hard to achieve what it sets out to do. I don't know if it succeeds, but they go for the kind of the big budget sort of thing. You know, people riding around on horses and loads of castle sets, and you know, none of productions are ever scaled back.
Beautifully in the background.
Oh, he's off.
Rick's gone. Never to return.
He's off.
What does ITC stand for?
Do you know, I can't even
Isn't
remember.
it Independent Television Company?
Isn't it Incorporated Television?
Or it could be
Oh, he's gonna
incorporated.
tell. What does ITC stand for?
Incorporated Television Company.
He's on it.
Wow, well done,
Incorporated
Nick.
Television.
This is where you get loads of listeners' emails to say, "What is that man talking about?"
Doesn't know. Well, I thought it was. I did think it was called that. So, Jamie, did your father have? Jamie's pulling his strange Facebook face that he does.
FaceTime face.
FaceTime.
I don't have a Facebook face.
No, not Facebook face. I don't know what I'm talking
Ridiculous.
All his profile pictures.
What was your father's relationship like with Lou Grade?
Uncle Lou.
Is that what?
That's what you used to call him.
Wow.
Yeah, very good. So, first thing they did with Supercar, you know this.
Yeah.
So, Dad went to Lou via an introduction of an introduction because they were desperate. Went in with a budget for Supercar, pitched it. Lou said, "Fine, but I'll only pay a third of what you're asking, and you've got until tomorrow morning to cut the budget by 2/3." They worked through the night, went back the next morning, and they cut it in half. And then Lou looked at the numbers, went off, opened the door, went into another room, and then 5 minutes later came back and went, "All right, fine, you got yourself a deal." And later Dad discovered that door led to a cupboard. So it was all for effect and illusion, and that was going to set their relationship going. And then Lou allowed him to spend more and more money, and whenever Dad wavered in terms of will he back this, Lou would shake some sense into him. And there was that famous moment where Dad said, "Oh, I'm not sure you're going to like this one, Lou, it's a bit different." I think this was for Scarlet maybe, or maybe it might have been Stingray. And Lou grabbed him by the scruff of the neck, hauled him up and pointed at the light bulb and said, "If you want to make a show about that light bulb, I will back you." So complete support at all times, and like I said about the cameras and stuff, just spend the money wherever you want. It's sometimes some commercial considerations from Lou and Lou's ideas about having a new series rather than extending out a series run or commissioning the same like Thunderbirds, for example, cancelled it after 6 shows of season 2. But otherwise, yeah, a great supporter.
Because
His
Lou was
patron.
good at recognising a genius when he saw one, and obviously your father was a genius, and I think I would describe Patrick McGowan as a genius. And I can't remember who it was, came up with a famous quote that said, if Patrick McGowan just walked into Lou Grade's office and said, "I'm just going to run around for a bit, could that be a series?" Lou Grade would have said yes, because he trusted him completely. It sounds like
same.
your dad had the same sort of relationship. It's like, look, I know you know what you're doing, just go and do whatever your latest thing is.
Yeah, it's complete belief in the creator rather than obsessing over the balance sheet. And where Lou did obsess over the balance sheet in the corporate side, it was in terms of curtailing series. It wasn't saying, "No, that's a rubbish idea," or "I know better than you." he, as far as he was concerned, he was the businessman who sold the shows, and they were the creators that made them, and those things remained separate.
So once he believed in it, do you have to go forever now?
I don't have to go forever.
Okay.
Don't say that.
Jamie, give your love letter to UFO.
I'm not sure I love UFO necessarily. Is that a terrible thing to say?
No, just tell us the truth.
I'm afraid I do have to permanently leave this edition of the Benji and Nick Show. I still can't do it in time, you know.
What, the Benji and Nick Show?
I get it wrong every time. I can do that. Red Ray Unlimited presents.
Yeah, that's
and I seem
slower.
to get that totally in, and then the Benji. Oh no, I've missed it.
It took us a few goes to get it.
It's
right.
difficult. It's not
How many
easy.
shows have you had now? 42 or something? And I still
Blimey,
can't do
something
it.
like that. 30 something, yeah.
30 something. It just feels like 42.
Same
We do
age
go
as me.
on.
Now you know you have a loyal listener. There's always an email from me.
Definitely, yeah. No,
Love
you
an
keep
email.
us going. You may now leave.
I've outstayed my welcome.
Go and organise this event.
will.
Go and
Pleasure
host.
having you here,
Lots
though.
of people
Thank
are buying
you.
drinks without me. So
Well, thanks for having us here, and don't forget to buy us a drink.
No, and I'll catch up with you all in a bit.
Take care.
Sorry,
Bye,
Jamie,
Rick.
where were we?
UFO.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah. Well, it's a kind of a lovely combination of everything Jerry Anderson in terms of, you know, it's got the kind of Marineville element of the Harlington Straker Studios and the kind of the Scarlet aspect of incoming alien threat and all that kind of stuff. It, as happened with most Anderson shows, there is an element of recycle and refine.
I'm back again.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Are we still on the Benji and Nick show?
Yeah, still rocking.
This is very exciting. Just there's a young lady here who would like to meet you. Dennis Springer's daughter, Elaine, would love to meet you.
Oh, I saw her earlier.
And I know you know her,
Yes,
but
yes.
she won't appear on podcasty type things.
Won't she?
No. So I was just tried to grab her over. I'm just letting you know.
Well, should I do that now or?
Carry on about UFO and then go.
Okay.
I'm sorry to have interrupted.
I know, it's-
Apologies to the listeners.
I didn't say that this was going to be an organised podcast.
I don't think that happens with us, does it?
Well, that'll be exciting in a bit. So recycling and refining was going on as ever, which is completely natural, and it's with the benefit or the cruelty of hindsight, where you can start to go, oh, does this really actually work and make sense, and why is it laid out the way it is, and what's the motivation for the aliens and all that kind of stuff. But it was done with a hell of a lot of weight and drama, and took itself extremely seriously, which is a little bit of a departure, especially after Secret Service. Which
I wish I could do some of the Stanley Unwin nonsense. Like, no, can't do it. Yes.
yes. Thank you. I love that fugue. It's so cool.
It's
isn't
brilliant.
It?
It's brilliant.
Are there any other TV shows that have a fugue?
all right
drinks.
then. Yeah. Well, is there like what's the bitter? Is there a London Pride or something?
It's London Pride.
Is it like London Pride's fine? Pint of London Pride's fine for me.
I'll copy you, shall I?
Yeah, it's
Make
good.
it easy.
Triple
I'll
bill.
copy, triple bill. Why not?
It's easy on your
Thank you
memory.
very
that.
much. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Yes. Anyway, and Ed Straker, fantastic.
Great character.
Yeah, great character. The voice and the kind of the tension, and they're trying to balance his personal and professional life and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, as you've mentioned before, because a lot of casual sex pestery.
Yes, that was a thing, wasn't it?
Definitely.
There's
yes.
is it Time Lash where there's a moment where they're caught in the time freeze, whatever it's called, and there's just a long extended shot of the man staring at a lady's cleavage. So it's weird because it's saying, look at this naughty man, but actually it's kind of going, well, we'd all do that, wouldn't we, lads? Which
Yes,
no,
yes.
of course we would not do that.
Well, I think the first shot of UFO is of Aisha
Ruff's
Ruff's bottom.
bottom.
Yeah.
It is,
In a very fluffy dress, which you made a great study of when you watched it the first time, I understand.
How dare you?
You confessed to that on the Jerry Anderson podcast,
Did I?
Nick. So yes,
It's out there. It's out.
It's in audio form.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
It's all true.
but I love a lot of it, and things like Skydiver and the launch sequence
it's
for
glorious.
all the interceptors on the moon and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, weirdly, it feels like two different shows to me quite a lot of the time. The lunar stuff and the terrestrial stuff could almost be two separate entities.
And also the earlier episodes and the later episodes as well.
yeah, but does that not happen with every show, especially at that era, kind of improving and finding its feet and stuff?
I suppose so. I mean, The Prisoner certainly changed. That's interesting.
I think it's certainly a thing that happened then, is that technology was improving and styles were changing and fashions were changing. Nowadays things do kind of just stay the same, don't they, I suppose, because I don't feel like things have changed dramatically in the era that we're in now. Whereas at that time it was all, especially imagine with what your dad does all the time, it's about finding new ways of doing things.
They were inventing technology to do it and then streamlining it and finding new ways to do stuff and realising they could do things in certain ways where they didn't think it was possible before. So yeah, that's
been great when
rapidly
they're
changing.
time-saving things.
yeah.
I don't have to do that anymore. Amazing.
Never happened with the puppets though. Probably did with the actors.
It's the footsteps approach of someone with
Like walking down that tunnel, isn't it, towards resignation?
Yes, it is. Number 6 has arrived. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so
But he's
much.
brought us beers, so you need not resign it. Thank you.
Thank you. Still in the ministry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh no.
Does it make any noise? Oh yeah.
And now should we pour the beers?
The 7 C's. Or 3 of them. Cheers, chaps.
Cheers.
We're not going to have. There won't be a clink because they're just plastic.
Santé. Oh, we didn't touch that. Sorry.
Contact. Contact has been
Contact.
Oh, you did the 3 Doctors. I did Invisible Enemy.
Look at that. Two different eras, but
Yeah. Benji, back to you on. Jamie, do you have to go somewhere? You all right? I
Yeah,
feel
shall I go and have my chat, which can't happen on mic?
yeah, go and say hi.
Shall I
And
leave
say
my-
I'll come over and say hi.
Shall I leave my film recorder with you then?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
I'll get some free Benji and Nick show on the Jerry
Yeah,
Anderson
it's a
podcast.
crossover. It's a crossover.
I'll leave that there. I'll take my bit. Goodbye.
Goodbye. A bit, Jamie.
Benji.
Nick.
Thank you. Correct. It's the name of the podcast. Back to you on ITC shows.
So I suppose for me, obviously I'm a lot younger than when they were on for the first time. So I've played catch up with pretty much all the television programs that I love in my life. I have played catch up to, and with these shows, it's one of the things, especially with the with the ITV, ITV playing a lot of ITC things. It's always been on, and it's always been a thing that's been happening. It's like, for example, Rowland Hopkirk Deceased. It's always been a thing. Like it's one of the. I've never really, until these last few years, I hadn't really applied myself to sit down and watch it because it was always on, and you'd flick through the channel and you'd see it. But the thing, and as I said earlier, it just feels so much bigger than it actually is, and that's what I love about it, really. And there are so many programs. I mean, it's like I was saying the other day about my mum of all people seeing me watching The Prisoner, and actually, going, I want to watch that, and now I think she's well into it now. She's getting towards the end of The Prisoner. So these shows have such an appeal, and they have the boundaries of like a UK television programme, they completely break them down. This feels much bigger, and rightfully so. It succeeds exactly what it set out to do.
And you've been watching The Prisoner recently, haven't you? On
I have indeed.
HD on your computer.
I have indeed. The HD restorations are there. I've got them on iTunes. Absolutely cracking. Like, it looks gorgeous. Everything about the colours. It looks especially as you know, Nick, being Mr. Prisoner. The colours in the programme itself are glorious anyway. It's a very colourful show.
Yeah.
It's very surreal. In fact, we saw the mini moke, didn't we, outside here, which was rather brilliant. But I messaged you because I was watching The Prisoner on the way over here. That the music from Doctor Who, The Web of Fear, features in is it Dance of the Dead or is it Death? Yeah, it features in that multiple times as well. The same cue. Yeah. I think it's called something like Space and Time. I can't remember what the piece is called now.
I can't remember.
It's called like Space and Time something or another. But anyway, it features in there, and it, you know, those moments where reality almost changes. I was like, oh, it's like these two things don't interact together. What's happened? Doctor Who and The Prisoner are crossing over. It's wacky.
Stock music, you see.
It's stock. It is the nature of stock music.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, are you watching any ITC stuff at the moment? Have you been dipping into the getting yourself prepared for the event?
Well, ITC productions are so much part of my appreciation of television that I nearly watched The Champions the other night, but then I was distracted by the fact that Public Eye is on Talking Pictures TV and I'm recording it. It's on constant record, so I just keep going into Public Eye.
I've missed the start, so I feel like I can't really...
There's no start because the first episodes don't exist, so you might as well just join it any old time.
Oh,
it was the kind of show you just drop in on it. There's no the ones that are on at the moment have no continuing story arc. There was a 6-episode season where he just got out of prison and he was in Brighton, and that is sequential. And those are the first ones they showed on Talking Pictures TV, and you'd be a bit at sea if you joined during one of those in the middle. But the rest of them, honestly, it's the case of the week, you know, the crime of the week, whatever that he has to solve or not. And it's always, as I've said many times before, it's often quite trivial. It's really,
as is a lot of these things.
Yeah, and it beautifully has a lack of resolution in the plots. You know, he just discovered that something's unfair or someone was lying, and he just kind of goes, that's anyway.
Is it one of those programs that you can kind of switch off to?
Well,
like you can sit there and put it on and feel totally comfortable with sitting and watching.
Yeah, no, definitely that. I mean, this morning I was watching the latest one that I was watching from my recordings while I was because you were having to stay at my place tonight because you can't get home. So I was, sorting out the bedding for your bed, and I was pootling around doing all that while I was watching it. So I see what you mean. You can kind of do that.
Do your own thing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing about Talking Pictures. The channel on I can't remember the number actually.
81 on Freeview.
81 on Freeview. But Talking Pictures TV is such a fantastic and it's actually the television channel itself is actually beginning to grow, isn't it, in terms of people listening. It's a huge following. Yeah,
I spoke to Dick Fiddy the other night, who's the BFI historian chap, and he was telling me that Public Eye is the top rated is their best ever ratings.
Wow,
for Talking
really?
Pictures. Yeah, it's doing great guns for them. It's really interesting.
And good on them, because it's, I tend to watch on there a lot of the I'll do a thing now. It started, Nick, that I will look to see what's on in the week and then make a note to record it. And so there are lots of things, I've been watching a lot of the old horror films and things like that on there. There's so many wonderful things to enjoy. So I urge anybody that listens to our podcast really to check it out, because actually 9 times out of 10 you'll find something, even if you're not one, even if you watch it you think, well, this isn't really for me, I can guarantee that you'll watch it and think, this is quite interesting.
Oh goodness!
Because there's a lot of very obscure stuff on there, isn't there?
Talking Pictures TV
with the old film. And I was watching, what was it, 1970 postcards from I was going to say postgates from Margate. Postcards. It wasn't from Margate though. It was from one of the Channel Islands. It was just this little travel documentary thing that lasted for about 20 minutes. And it was in the mid-70s, but it was brilliant to watch though, captivating. Although nobody else around me thought that.
Well, we may now go to some other things that happen at this event. If we don't, this bit won't appear in the podcast.
Please will you welcome Shane Rimmer. Please say hello again to Madeline Smith. see you both. And as I mentioned, Madeline, there's not many people who can say they've done Bond, Carry-Ons, Hammer Horror, and ITC shows. That's fantastic.
That's because I'm very old.
The Persuaders would have been the first time you worked with Roger, rather than...
It was, oh, absolutely, and he directed it.
And how was that?
Yeah, oh, fantastic. Oh, totally adorable. Anushka Hempel and I were pretending to be somebody else. We were both, completely and utterly gormless, the two of us, really. It wasn't really much acting, but such fun.
Did you get the same feeling about Tony as Annette did, that there were sort of two different people?
Oh, well, I got to see his etchings. I was invited into his caravan. He had a trailer. The first actor I ever encountered actually had his own trailer. Because that wasn't the common thing, was it, Shane? You didn't have your own trailer. Just used to share the most grungy caravans.
But yeah, Roger Moore was someone you worked with on the Bonds as well. And everyone I speak to about Roger Moore says, what a lovely, affable guy. I've never heard anyone say a bad word. Did you get on well with Roger as well?
No. It would be impossible not to get along well with Roger Moore. He had this particular habit. What you had to make sure you never forgot. Don't turn your back on him during the course of a scene. He knew his lines beautifully, and he was always sort of in charge of what he was doing. On a cinematic floor, on a film floor, things can get a bit tense and things get locked up. What you need is some sort of relief from that sort of situation, somebody who's going to break it. Roger was the perfect fellow to do that. Not only was he in command of his particular role and what he was doing, he had this fiendish sort of mentality that he was going to disrupt somebody else. Not to the point where they would completely forget everything they were doing, but it would rattle them a bit so they might have to sort of reconvert what they were supposed to have said. It sometimes changed the whole course of the film.
Also on stage was Ian Ogilvy, the star of Return of the Saint.
Oh, and I used to say to Bob, really, Bob, is this really realistic, But, I have to say that the people who enjoyed my show most were 12-year-old boys. And I think a lot of you here were 12-year-old boys, So that's who it was really made for. It was not a tremendously sophisticated show, but I had a lot of fun doing it.
Appearing on stage with Ian Ogilvy was Jenny Hanley. Many of you will know her as an actor who appeared in lots of ITC and ITV shows and movies. She was even a Bond girl. But also, of course, she was very famous as one of the presenters of Magpie, the ITV children's magazine programme. But here she's talking about appearing in Return of the Saint and other ITC roles.
Oh, I did. No, I did. We did running about the place. We did an awful lot of cuddling, which I quite like. I liked your clips because practically every clip of me was me kissing or hugging somebody. So I'm going to review my career with huge fun.
When it comes to driving around in the car, would you be doing a lot of that driving, or would that be a stunt driver? Well, there's scenes with you both in your episode, with you both in the car.
I trusted him.
Yeah. So you were doing...
I did have some fun with that, because, in fact, I'm incredibly short-sighted. You're just a big pink blur. And I would get into the car with the leading lady, and we would rehearse with the glasses, so I kind of knew where the corners were and everything. And then I would take them off, and I would say to them, by the way, I'm completely blind, so tell me which way to go. Yeah, I did most of the driving. Any sort of stunt driving, I didn't do. No, of course not. I wasn't qualified for it. In fact, we had our stunt coordinator was the certified man called Les Crawford. A great, lovely man. He was crazy as a loon. And he said to me, quite early on, I used to try and do lots of stunts and being macho and butcher that thing. And one day he came up to me and he said, Ian, you're being an arsehole. And I said, why, what did I do? And he said, you're doing stuff that you're not qualified to do. You don't make it look good. You're taking work away from my boys. They do it better than you. Everybody will think it's you. So why don't you just sit down and have a rest occasionally? And I took that advice, and thank God I did, because actors have absolutely no business doing that kind of thing. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. There are qualified people to do that.
Ian has a book, and I hope you've all... It's a great read. I enjoyed it very much.
Could I interrupt and just say the only book of Ian's that I've read so far, because I'm obviously slightly backward, are his books for children called Measle. And they are lovely. So is this grown-up writing?
That's my memoir.
You remember things?
One or two. It was very easy to write because I knew the story, you know?
But now I feel we should... There's a famous person in the background ordering some drinks. Did you know that? Don't say who it is, but they are famous. Definitely. Certainly in Live and Let Die with Roger Moore. Yeah. Anyway,
better get the old tarot cards out.
That's not...
I know, I'm joking.
It's not Jane Seymour. It's the one who was hiding in the cupboard at the beginning. Write in and let us know who we're talking about. We should decide now, spontaneously, what we'll be discussing in the next one.
This is a good point.
After we've been to Chicago.
I suppose, did we choose anything on the last one?
No, we didn't, because we said we were coming here to talk about ITC.
I suppose this gives us a good opportunity now. So we'll be coming back from Chicago. I feel like maybe we should do something American.
Oh.
Because we're going to America.
Yeah.
Perhaps if we watch it beforehand, we can maybe even record it at some point over there.
Don't be too bold.
I don't know. What do you think? Have you got anything that's...
Well, when you said America, I thought of Columbo.
Oh, Columbo. That could be fun.
Columbo.
Could we do episode 1 of Columbo?
Yeah, I mean, is there a definitive episode 1?
The first one that was shown.
Okay, well, you know, sometimes these things are complicated.
No, it's very true. It's very true.
All right, we'll do the first Columbo.
That could be fun. I'm up for it.
My wife thinks you're terrific. Just one more thing.
Your son loves that voice, doesn't he?
I can reduce him to tears of laughter just by pretending to be Columbo. He just ends up going, no, more Columbo. Anyway, so there you have it. So time to...
go into the microphones here. Oh, is that nice? Is that loud?
Yeah, that's really loud.
I'm not going to hit it. Well, it's goodbye from me on this ITC evening.
And it's goodbye from me. And if any of you are remotely interested in what happened before the podcast got underway, and let's face it, you probably aren't, here is how all the snacks and various nonsense were arranged. Feel free to press stop now, actually. You may be able to hear in the distance Benji Clifford and Jamie Anderson getting snacks here at Elstree Studios at the ITC event. What have you got?
Like little builder's hats. Here you go, Nick.
Well, what's in there? Oh, look at that. Is that all for me?
Yeah.
That's like grapes and a savoury egg and 2 crisps. That was Jamie Anderson crunching a crisp. What flavour are they, Ron?
Well, that's for you to decide.
I can't tell because I ate a Jaffa cake and a crisp at the same time.
Yeah, I was going to mention the Jaffa cakes and the sausage roll. This is a strange meal. Thank you very much.
It's served in what looks like a little sort of builder's hat, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A little helmet.
Yeah.
Or, as I've said 3 times on here, a little flying saucer as well.
Oh, yeah.
If it was flipped upside down. So you should have got Richard here. We could have had like a dual podcast meeting of minds.
Yeah, he's got
a summit.
He's working.
Oh, of course he's working.
Whereas we're messing around eating Jaffa cakes and
Eating
crisps.
Jaffa cakes and pretzels. Those pretzels are really good though. Might have another one.
Get a couple of pretzels.
It's quite good. They've actually, the whole bar's kind of themed around ITC sort of stuff, which is quite nice.
No UFO though.
Yeah, write and complain.
Who have we got on the wall there? That's Jason King, Simon Templar,
Steed.
Terry Thomas. He's just completely not a bounder.
What would Emma Peel do? It says.
What would she do?
Don't know. It's like one of these bracelets, isn't it?
Probably get some more pretzels, I expect.
Are you sending me to get more pretzels?
No. So
I don't mind.
I'm on to the sweet stuff now. I'm on to the Jaffa cakes. Here he comes.
Dessert.
Rick Davey.
Looking sharp.
He changed from the time that I arrived to the time that I left to go to the pub. Hi, Rick.
Are we live on the Benji and Nick show?
Yeah.
We've not sort of officially started, but we're
Well,
sort of,
maybe
it's
we
like
have.
the pre-show, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah.
a Jaffa cake and grape combination, Nick, you're going for there with your nibbles.
He had Jaffa cake and crisps
And that's
just
a bit
now.
weird.
Jaffa cake and crisps.
He had 2 crisps and a savoury egg.
I left all the sweet stuff till last.
You see, Jaffa cake is officially a cake.
Is it really?
Yeah. Do you know why?
Why?
What happens to cakes when they go off?
They go stale.
In what way do they go stale?
hard.
They go hard. What do biscuits do when they go off?
They go soft.
What happens to a Jaffa cake?
Goes hard.
Yes, it's a cake.
I've never left one around long enough.